We truly are thrilled to partner with CAIR and with Unity Productions Foundations.
We work in Hollywood to help shape stories that come out of the popular media as it relates to Islam and the Muslim world, to sort of get at some of those negative stereotypes that have really existed in the media since 9/11. And we're also filmmakers. So that's why you're here tonight, to see our latest film that just got done going on to PBS and actually was screened in the Middle East on a network called Al Arabiya to over 400 million, I'm told.
A lot of things that I get, a lot of questions I will get because of the positions I have. People will say, well, tell me, Father, what does Islam teach about this, this, and this? And my first response is simply, ask a Muslim. They will tell you. And that's what we're here to do tonight. And as you'll see, what this film will help us to do is to enter into that conversation. What is dialogue is not to convince another, not to be apologetic for one's own beliefs, not to try to do a lot of things. There are no winners. In fact, there are no winners and losers. There are simply winners, because the goal of dialogue at its heart is to get to know the other and to make oneself known to the other. It means one must be very grounded in one's own religious faith, one's own religious conviction, and be able to articulate that to another. It also means to be willing to find out, who are you? Who is the one with which I am in dialogue? In a very candid exchange, holding nothing back for false cynicisms, and we'll often find that we have much more in common than we have in differences.
My name is Aseel, Elborno, and I work with the Council on American-Islamic Relations. And basically what we are is a civil rights advocacy group for Muslim Americans and for all those who believe in civil rights in the United States. I want to thank you very much for coming out tonight, and Trinity Presbyterian for hosting us also graciously.
So while we watch the movie, I want you to think of a few questions. Number one, what are the different ways that misunderstandings between people in the West and people in Muslim countries can overcome the misunderstandings? And number two, how can we create meaningful dialogues that really help us overcome stereotypes and misinformation that is received?
When there is diversity, there is, by definition, friction. But of course, if you eliminate diversity, wouldn't everyone be the same? There'll be no friction, but there'll be no creativity that results from that.
And so it's always been a dream of mine to be able to do that.
So when do you start touring? 84% of Palestinians, 80% of Egyptians. But what was perhaps more surprising, how does this compare to what Muslim women themselves actually do? Now, we also see in this graph not only what women think, but what the men in the same country think.
For non-Muslims to deal with is the notion of Sharia or Islamic law. One sees the Taliban in Afghanistan.
One thing, sometimes you have to say, hey, we've got problems in certain areas.
When I grew up, we had to challenge our fellow, I challenged my parents.
I didn't know anything. Yeah, that was surprising.